Sometimes it's helpful to understand how something works under the hood, even though you might not be directly interacting with it. In this video, I'm going to explain the unique architecture of Forge and how it works. The first concept is that of the Atlassian cloud, because Forge apps are hosted by Atlassian. The next concept is that of the Forge runtime, which is where your server-side code runs. Forge is a function as a service platform that runs your code in response to events, such as when a user who is interacting with your app performs an action, or another user performs an action that your app is listening for. A key benefit of a FaaS platform is that it scales automatically to handle the load of your app. It's important to note that your code has a limited time to run. This is called the execution time limit, and it varies depending on the type of event that triggered the function. Whilst the Forge runtime takes care of your running code, the Forge app management component is responsible for helping you deploy and manage your Forge apps. You interact with this whilst developing an app. CLI stands for Command Line Interface. You install it on your computer to create and manage Forge apps. Forge app hosting refers to the hosting of your bundled app code, as well as the data in the Forge platform that is used to look up your code so that Forge knows when to run your app's functions and include its front end so that it is rendered for users. The Atlassian Apps component represents Atlassian products that your Forge app interacts with. This includes Jira, Jira Service Management, Confluence, Bitbucket, and various other Atlassian apps that support Forge. When an Atlassian app renders a page that includes extension points, or it performs some processing that is extensible, it needs to determine the apps that are installed in the context it's running in to ensure apps are correctly factored in. This is a fairly complicated area, but it's mostly about the environment in which the app is running. Forge has three standard environments: development, staging, and production. Forge UI refers to the ability of a Forge app to render user interface components in Atlassian apps. For example, a Forge app can provide macros that a user can select when editing a Confluence page. A common Jira UI component is a custom field. Forge apps can make calls from their front-end code to their back-end code. To do this, your app needs to declare a UI resolver to wire up your front end to its back end. Apps often need to store data. Forge Storage provides a secure and scalable way to manage this data. Forge Storage ensures storage regions are tenant safe, which means that an app can't accidentally mix up the storage between different customers. It's worthwhile noting that if your front-end code needs to use Forge Storage, it must do so via the back-end code. Forge apps can call external services, such as REST APIs, to access data or perform actions outside of the Atlassian cloud. This arrow is bidirectional because external systems can also call Forge apps. Previously, I mentioned that the Forge runtime is a functions as a service platform, where functions have a maximum invocation period. If your app needs to perform a lot of processing, you can use async events to break the processing into smaller tasks that can be processed separately. The Forge tunnel is a development feature whereby instead of the functions running in the Atlassian cloud, it runs on the developer's computer. The tunnel creates a secure connection between the developer's machine and the Atlassian cloud, enabling real-time testing and debugging. Tunneling enables fast, iterative development. Only app activity running in the development environment and user activity triggered by the developer uses the tunnel. All other activity occurs in the deployed instances of the app. So this is the complete conceptual architecture of Forge that I'll be referencing in later videos when explaining various concepts in more detail. So hopefully now you have an appreciation of how Forge works under the hood. If you found this interesting, why not try creating a Forge app? Because it's actually really simple to get started. Just visit the URL on this screen.